Please, there's so much questionable shit of me on the world. I think we're on. Scott, can you scooch a little bit closer?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Well, yeah, welcome to Two Guys, One Guest, Scott.
Cool. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. We're super happy to have you here. I think you also are one of the other guests that I've had in mind for a long time. And it's probably around the beginning. Because we've talked, and I was like, you're a cool dude. You gotta come on and talk to us.
Yeah, I appreciate that because, like I told you the first time, I was like,
sorry, I'm just gonna
put everybody to sleep, you know what I mean?
No, not at all, man.
I don't do too much exciting stuff anymore. I used to, have a little fun, but now I'm just kind of,
What's some of the fun that you used to have?
Yeah, well,
start there. Well, I used to be a little crazy, man, out there, in my 20s and 30s, some, maybe early into my 40s even. Not too much anymore.
Okay.
About maybe 14 or 15 years ago as I got my life right, got straight. So
that's cool.
But, when you're in a, what do they call the purple haze or whatever haze there was, I was in it,
Damn,
so
that's crazy.
Yeah. So for a long time, man, I was like doing little wild stuff out there, running amok and just trying to do the most, but really all I was doing was dumb shit. But it was, I had some fun,
Well, because like the dumb shit that you say you were doing, like when you were doing that stuff at the time, what was in your head? Like, were you just like, I'm just living life? Or?
Yeah, when you just get, like when everybody, when you start out when you're a kid, you start having a few beers at the keg parties after the high school football game and all that stuff. And then, somewhere along the line, it's, if you try this and then you try that and you try that, and then you just get stuck, man. You think you're having a good time, and you are sometimes,
right,
you know what I mean? But in the end, it all comes crashing down. I know a few people that can party and dabble in the hard stuff and still be like everyday working class, people that aren't out there doing dumb shit. But most of the time, if you're using chemicals, you're doing dumb shit. Eventually, you're going to get in trouble for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not all bad. There's some good times to be had out there.
No, for sure. I used to party a lot with that dude out there, and just like other people and shit. And I remember when I started getting to a point where I was like kind of not having as much fun. I remember I would wake up and be like, "Damn, I didn't have like that was fun, but like now what?"
Yeah,
I'm just at home.
Oh, it does.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and that's
it does. And when it's like you turn around, you go, "Man, what am I doing?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're stuck when you just keep doing it and you keep doing it, and then
just in a loop.
Yeah, in a loop. But eventually, like anybody that's out there with that, you got family members that are in that situation or whatever right now.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, don't give up on them.
Yeah,
don't give up on yourself if you're in that situation, because you can change. All you got to do is change your mind, man. Change your way of thinking.
Yeah.
And realize that you can take those necessary steps that you need to take to to do whatever you want in life, whether it's losing weight, getting a new job, going back to school. Mine's a powerful
Getting your
thing.
debt together.
Anything like that. Yeah. So if you feel like you're in a bad spot, man, just do something about it. You can't just be the victim. I think you got to take responsibility for whatever happens to you in the world. Yeah, other people might have done some dirty stuff to you, but you have to make up your mind to not let it define who you are. And then even the dumb shit you do to yourself. Like I look back now, I own my own business. I have some kids, I got 3 boys, one's 32, one's going to be 14 in December.
Cool.
And one to be 10 in March. And I got
double presents for them.
Yeah. Sometimes he doesn't get shit. It's like, sorry, bro. Yeah, we'll go to Prescott and play in the snow. Is that good?
There you go.
But if you can turn yourself around, no matter what it is, So
yeah,
it just took me a long time because I think I just didn't care. I was having fun, and then at some point your body starts breaking down, or your mindset changes, and you can just come back from the brink and do your thing. So if you're in a bad place, man, shake it off and just do what you got to do to get back going again.
Also, I think
that's a hard thing to do. You have to change. You have to actually want it. You can't be told all the time to change. That's what keeps people in those holes. I think is when people think they're helping, but telling them to change and stuff.
Dude, 100%, 100%. Because
a lot of times you just have to kind of be there for the, like you're saying.
Yeah, I had like my family. I got raised right. Like some people say, "Oh, man, my parents were like top of the line, took care, taught me right from wrong and everything like that." And I was just like, I'm just going to do this because this is what I want to do, And it's the truth, man. Once no matter how many people tell you, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that, if you're not ready to do it, you're not going to do it. You know what I mean? And specifically like me, I was like spun out for a number of years. You know what I mean? I was like, full metal, full tilt.
Damn.
Yeah, 24/7, 365. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, let's do this. I tell people a lot of times now, I'm like, bro, if you would have known me 15 years ago, you wouldn't even let me in your house. You know what I mean?
That's crazy,
not that I was like shady, but I was just, crazy, just doing wild stuff. Like my girl that I'm with right now, we've been together for 14 years.
Oh, close around the time you guys got your stuff together.
Yeah. And so she had like heard about me and knew of me because she knew my sisters and she knew other people I knew, right? And so when her and I first started dating, it's funny, I tell everybody, before she moved in with me, we went on 2 dates. And actually it was one. She wouldn't leave the house with me. She stayed. she lived with her girlfriend, and like I would go over there and visit her, and we would
kind of thing?
No, we would chill at her house, but she wouldn't leave anywhere with me. She was like, "No, I heard about you. You're too crazy." Not that I would do anything to her, but she just knew. Like once I was out there doing my thing, I was out there doing my thing, and whatever happened, and it was on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the only time she ever she wouldn't get in the car with me.
Jesus,
she wouldn't go anywhere with me.
Name,
so, yeah.
That's a reputation.
Yeah. So when the only date I said we went on 2 dates. Actually, we walked to the AM PM, and then we walked to the Philberto's next door to that, and walked back to her apartment. And that was the 2 dates we went on.
Outing.
That was it. Yeah, that was it.
Crazy,
so we dated for like maybe 5 or 6 months before she just moved in with me because she just had drama where she was at, and we've been together ever since. But that was the only dates we went on. Was besides we visited her house. That's how I met her. I went to her friend's house and she was staying with her friend, and that's how we met. But
that's cool.
Yeah, she wouldn't go anywhere.
So was she kind of part of that world that you were in?
Yeah. And that's what's cool is that we both did it together. Yeah,
right. That's cool.
Yeah, and she was like, when Winston came along, man. Once you see a baby that's dependent on you, dude, that changes everything, man. And if it doesn't change everything, then there's something wrong. Really wrong. But that's was the.
Do you mean that if there's something wrong, there's something you should do about it? Or?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely, something you should do about it. So that's what
you got to change your situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was with me like during some of the crazy stuff, like especially after she moved in with me. She was like, "Yeah, we had some times. We had some times." But then, but then when Winston came along, man, that was it. And so we, after that, she did the same thing I did. We just both got our act together, and boom, it's been smooth sailing ever since.
That's crazy, man. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Pretty much smooth. There's always the ups and downs of life and everything.
Yeah.
But that's kind of your wake up call.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he was a year old, man, when I quit partying, and I got real sick. And I was in the hospital, and they just told me, they were like, "Dude, you got to do something. If you keep living like you're living, that's it. You don't have much chance." So
that's crazy, man.
Yeah. So and track it 15 years later, I started my business right after that. I just lucked up I was cleaning my own yard up and went to the dump with a trailer that I had with all the crap from my house, and some guy was like, "Hey, you do landscaping and trash outs? You got that nice truck and trailer? And I was like, and it was actually just a beat up ass old Chevy S10, but it pulled the trailer,
Small,
you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you know, I could do all that stuff.
Cool.
And my girl had made me some business cards.
Wow.
Because I was always telling her, hey, she never saw it, but I would be telling her, hey, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. So just on a whim one day, she made me some business cards. So I had them with me.
Crazy, man.
Didn't have a job. I didn't, nothing, you know. Yeah. And I gave the dude my business card, and you know, here we are all these years later.
That's
man.
crazy,
Nice.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. So
because now you have your own business, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What is it?
I do all kinds of remodeling, commercial and residential remodeling.
That's
so,
crazy. Yeah, I've seen some of the pictures of stuff that you do.
Yeah.
It seems like really big jobs.
Some of them are. Some of them are. Some of them are small jobs, but they pay the bills, you know.
No,
so,
I bet. Yeah, that's cool. Did you learn a lot of that stuff on your own, or?
Yeah, I worked for a guy when I was younger, and I started out doing it in Tennessee. I was living in Nashville at the time. I grew up here, went to high school here in Phoenix. I went to Alhambra High School.
Cool.
Then I moved to Nashville after when I turned 18, because my mom and my dad had got divorced, and she went out there to Nashville. So I stayed out here for about a year, and then after that, I was like, well, I'm gonna go check it out. You know,
Crazy.
So I went out there, and man, it was pretty cool out there.
Yeah,
you know, Music City, man. And
I was gonna say, Nashville.
Yeah, so I started
working. See a lot of cool shows.
I got a lot of bands out there, and I met a lot of. We did some work on a lot of country music people's houses and stuff.
Cool.
So
crazy.
Yeah, we got hooked up out there. So I started building houses out there and started learning that, and then I just would watch all the other trades. You know, so if I saw
when
somebody,
you were younger, right?
Yeah, this is when I was like, before I got in trouble for the first time. I was, you know, for the first 3 or 4 years out there, I was doing good, and I would watch all the other trades do their stuff, and then I had my little spell where, you know, I got my first case, and I went to federal prison, you know, because I was a weed head, man. So I was selling big weed and got jammed up with some weed and a gun. So that's how I caught my first.
Crazy.
That's how I got my first case.
Weed was like more strict back then, right?
Dude, I tell people all the time, man, there's corporations and people out there making millions and millions of dollars, man, and I was making crumbs, bro, and went to prison for 4 years. You know what I mean? So
that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think living in Nashville influenced you to join that band when you were in the federal prison?
You know what?
You mentioned it before.
Yeah. It was cool. It was cool. I think because we saw a lot of shows out there, you know, and we would go to like all over the place. Every little club out there would have live bands almost all the time, because all the people that come there try, that try to make it big in music. So it was just something that, and, you know, just on the job site singing along with the radio all day, because you know, when you're building houses, man, there's nobody in the office complaining you got your radio too loud, you know. So we'd crank the radio up and
jam out.
You'd be you know, smoke some weed at lunch and sing along with the radio for
that's cool, man.
You know, 8 hours a day or whatever, you know. So
nice.
Yeah, and it was more of just something to do, man. I never claimed to like where I could really sing, because I can't really, but you know,
I'm sure you're probably better than you think.
Yeah, in there, you know, it was all right.
Just the influence alone, like being in Nashville, and then also having time on your hands, like being in prison.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was fun. So we did that for I did that for a minute in there, and then when my security level went down, I got transferred from that prison in Texarkana, Texas, to one in Manchester, Kentucky. So you got diesel therapy there, man. When you went from one place to another, it'd take a minute. It wasn't like, you know, so that was it. After that, I never did anything musically. I never tried to get into a band or whatever when I got back out on the streets, you know.
Yeah. Did they have programs like that in that new prison?
They had a music room where you could play music and stuff like that. And this was back in the late 80s, early 90s, where, you know, in the federal prisons compared to the state prisons, they would kind of have a little bit more for you to do to try to keep people from being in trouble while you're in there. You know, they figure if you have something that they can take from you. So if you're allowed to play your guitar and you're allowed to go in and play drums or whatever, you know, and you could take your guitar back to your, you know, where you lived at. Yeah.
Wow,
so if you had those free, you know, you got to do that, then you were less likely to be doing something stupid, to get in trouble or to cause drama.
Wow.
And, you know, that was a tool. Okay, well, you're messing up, we'll take your guitar, or you won't be allowed to use the music room. You know, it was just, the knuckleheads were going to be knuckleheads regardless. Right, but the dudes that were on the fringe, it helped keep mellow.
On the right side?
Yeah, mellow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's weird. I had never heard of anything like that.
Yeah. Now, to tell you the truth, now I don't know if they still roll like that or not. But back crazy. Then,
because everything I hear now, it's like the prisons are all for profit and they want to keep people in there.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'd find it hard to believe they would have something like that now.
Yeah,
true. Yeah,
it is that, and that's just part of the politicians running everything. Man. That's and definitely. I get it. There needs to be laws and everything, man. But like some of the mandatory sentencing for people that are just drug addicts.
Little things.
Yeah.
Ruining people's lives for tiny mistakes.
Yeah, you somebody that does something minor and then they end up with 2 or 3, 4 year, 5 year sentence, and it's like, come on, man, there's got to be leeway. Some people deserve to be buried. You know what I mean? I'm all for I'm all for that if it's done right, and I get it. You know what I mean? Because there has to be some kind of way to keep everybody in line, but some of the stuff is just like gets out of hand. The way they, the way
they put the hammer down.
Yeah, it's hard. And then you're right. It's not meant. There's no, like even my last time I was in, which was I got out in 2005. Last time I was in.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, or 2000. That was 2004. It was actually 2004, and there was nothing in there by the time. Maybe you had to take a GED class, but there was really nothing else. They would, like, for people that was their first time in and they were trying to not come back. There was nothing in there to do. There's just like warehoused is basically what it is now.
Yeah,
that sucks, man.
Yeah.
So back in the first time, did they have sort of programs to help rehabilitate you?
Oh yeah, there was some cool college classes on the first yard.
Classes?
Yeah, dude, there was a drafting class and a welding school that you could go to. Yeah, but the waiting list was so long to get into it. Like by the time the waiting list hit, and I would have been like,
you're out of prison.
Almost, yeah, because everybody was trying to get into the program.
Like at home one of these days.
Yeah, so my first time down, I went to I only had 3 years, and the waiting list was 18 months for to get into those classes, and then the classes were like 1.5 classes that you'd have to take. So I didn't have a chance to take either one of those, but they had other stuff you could get into, but at the time I was just like, I'm just gonna do my thing and stay out of trouble and get out, and for the most part, that's what happened, the first time. And so
if you complete one of those classes, do you get like legit certs that people will recognize outside?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they had the real deal. You got the whole spiel. And they had them guys welding and doing stuff on the so you were getting legitimate
workers. And stuff, right? Yeah.
Wow. It's crazy because I'm assuming a lot of that stuff isn't around now.
I don't know.
There's like a dire need for people in all trades.
Right. I know.
And that would be like the perfect workforce. So there was some sort of
incentive.
Rehabilitation program.
Yeah, some kind of incentive to do it. But I mean, they it's not what's on their agenda, so that's not really what's going to happen.
Yeah, they don't make money when those people do successfully out.
Right.
And they don't come back.
Right. Right. There it goes. But yeah, it was cool. Nowadays, I don't know about what they got going on in there now, and hopefully I'll never have to find out again.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all the times I went was just stuff because of being high, drugs. Every time I got in trouble, I only got in trouble for actually selling drugs once, and it was marijuana. It was nothing hard.
Yeah.
But all the other times I went to prison were just being high, doing dumb shit. So. So, and I, like, when I first started talking with our friend Gilbert, Coach, I was like, I told him about stuff, and I was like, he's like, well, that's cool that you're open with it. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to, like, let everybody else know, like, it's, it's nothing to be ashamed of, man. We all make mistakes in life, and it's how you rebound from the mistakes that you make is what builds your character and what defines you, not the mistakes that you make.
Yeah, because, those things happen, like, it's never going to not happen, so. Might as well.
I don't know if I was talking about it with you last week. Someone last week I was talking about every family has like a few people that have made mistakes. So I think people can relate to it on some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Someone's not a piece of shit or anything like that just because they made a mistake.
Right.
Right.
It's
or for the rest of their life.
It's like you said, you see them for the effort that they're putting in to change it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the thing that sticks out.
I think it's important also to be able to know that there's light at the end of that tunnel too.
Oh, most definitely, man.
Because when you're in it, like nothing else feels real.
Yeah. Like, there was some dark days, man, where you just think to yourself like, I clown around and I talk about it. You know, there's that Leonard Skinner song, you know, Lord, I can't change, you know, and I was in the middle of doing my last time I was in prison, and I had gotten some trouble on one of the spots that I was on and got into a little scuffle, you know, and I was on a bus going from that yard, going to the prison inside the prison, you know, basically yeah. I was going to the hole, you know, yeah. And I was on the prison bus, and the guards that were driving it had the radio station on, and that song came on, and I was like, fuck, man. You know, like, busted a tear, you know, sitting in the back going,
talking me shit.
I'm in prison, going to the prison inside the prison. What the fuck? You know, like, what are you doing, bro? You know,
these prisons and these goddamn prisons.
Yeah. You know, you think to yourself, what the fuck am I doing, man?
Yeah,
you know?
that's crazy.
But, you know, I still didn't change after that for a minute. I was still a knucklehead. But you get those brief times where you're like, you know, reality hits you that you're a dumbass, you know what I mean? And you're fucking up.
Or that you're making your own choices.
Yeah. You know, because, you know, I didn't go into it blind. I went in there like... eyes wide open, yeah.
I'm here now.
I'm in Rome. Let's act like a Roman, you know.
Exactly.
So
whenever you gotta try pasta.
yeah. And so, you know, it's like, duh, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes that Skinner song that comes on, and I'll tell somebody, yep, that was my song, man. I was pulling into CB6, bro, and that song came on, and I busted a tear on it, but I kept on acting like a fool, you know. So yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of people who do like self-help or whatever, or like when you're looking for something that is trying to like guide you away from doing bad shit or just feeling shitty, all like depressed or anxious or whatever. Like, people always say that like you can, or I guess not mental shit, but like people a lot of the time say that you got to hit like a rock bottom, you know. But it doesn't sound like you hit a rock bottom. It sounds like you hit something worth fighting for.
I did. I had my bottom, like my.
That made you realize?
Yeah, why? I mean, when I was sick, dude, and when you're laying in a hospital bed, and you know, when I was out there, I felt like I was invincible. You know what I mean? Just running them up, partying, just doing. We were doing crazy shit. I had a couple of my buddies we were running around with, and we were doing this off the wall, crazy shit. You know, just stupid, crazy shit. You know, putting ourselves in harm's way, putting ourselves in the position to be back in prison forever.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Just running around, you know, with bags full of drugs and guns and just acting a fool, you know, like taking no prisoners. And
were you guys like around town, or were you?
Oh yeah, we were. Yeah,
like across the state lines.
No, not.
So we're going to Mexico.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But then all of a sudden you're laying in a hospital bed, and dude, I thought, you know, they told my mom, you know, like, well, if he doesn't come out of this right now, then we need to start, like, maybe you guys need to start saying goodbye, because because I was really sick. My body, I'd got pancreatitis, and just because I was just using so much drugs, and then that's what they thought it was. I had other problems. My gallbladder was messed up too, so that added to me getting sick, like I got sick. But my body was just so wore out and run from all the running and all the gunning that I was doing, you know, because just when you're doing speed, bro, you're not sleeping, you know, but like once a week or whatever. Really? You know what I mean, dude? Wow. I'm telling you, like, we would run for like 4 or 5 days in a row, just straight being up the whole time, just running amok. And then you finally have to lay down and sleep for, you know, 20, 24 hours straight, and then just get up and just
catch up that whole time.
Yeah, and just start all over again, you know.
So is speed, like, when you're doing speed, is it like, it's gonna sound really stupid, but is there like a time period that you're like, okay, now I can do more speed, or are you just like, I feel like more speed now? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, for me, because it was like we had it all the time, so I was just I was just doing more than I needed to be doing. I was doing just to be doing it, you know, just because I could. So but there's a time where like you could feel it, like when you're drinking, you drink a few beers and you're buzzed for a little while, and then after a little bit you're not buzzed anymore, or you're not as buzzed as you want to be, so you take another shot. It's the same thing. It's the same basically with.
What does it feel like? Does it feel like everything around you is slow and you're going super fast?
At times it seems like that, you know, like you're just like hyper, like wanting to go.
It's like a lot of energy drinks or something.
Yeah, wanting to go do something, you know, but it's way more intense than that. And you're just like, you know, like you're feeling it. Yeah.
Is it like you're hot and sweaty and your heart's pounding, or is it?
Yeah, you can't. But once you get used to it, you're not all like I'd be high and people wouldn't even know. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'd get high in prison sometimes, and they'd be like, "Damn, dude," you know, and I'd be high, and nobody would even know I'd be high because I'd just be laying in the cut, like being cool. Some people they get high, and as soon as they do it, you're like, "Come on, man, look at you, bro! Yeah, come on, man, you know." But
you're making us look bad.
Yeah, exactly, you know. Yeah. But some people, like, you know, there'd be dudes doing heroin and stuff in there, and everybody thinks, oh, when you're doing heroin, you're all, you know, tired and nodding out, and these dudes would like be up playing cards all night, and you're like, man, yeah, and I'd be like,
wow,
because I was.
Do you build like a tolerance? Is that what it is?
I get it, and it affects people different ways. Yeah, and definitely you build the tolerances to it. But I was like, damn, I thought them fools were supposed to be like nodding out, burning themselves with cigarettes and shit in the corner, you know, when they'd be up like, you know, doing this and doing that, and, and I'd be like,
that's really weird.
It was to me too. I was like, whoa, because I always thought, you know, you see everybody on the TV and stuff, and that's like one of the things I never really got into. You know what I mean? I'd see it, and you know, I tried it a couple times, but it was like, to me, it was like paying to get the flu. I hated it, you know, and I don't know why I did it after the first time. It was stupid, you know. But that's what it was. You just, it was bad, but. So I was like going up. I didn't like coming down, you know. So I was like, I was the other guy. I was always just, you know, doing the other stuff. But yeah, it's so some people you can't really tell. Some people don't, you know, as soon as they do it, you're like, come on, man. You need to
keep your shit together.
Yeah,
that's funny.
You look terrible, you know.
Crazy, man.
How do people in the prisons get the drugs? I'm sure there's a lot of different.
He's gonna ruin it.
Oh, yeah.
Because like the only thing I know about, that's why I was so surprised by the music programs and all that.
Yeah.
The only thing I know about prisons is like, you know, shows and stuff. Like the biggest one now is the Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, and I've never even watched it. To be honest,
really?
I've never seen that show.
I'm sure a lot of it's ridiculous. But
but there's people that pay the people that work there to bring it in. There's like places that people like if there's jobs that go out. People leave the outside, and then other people that have that job would bring it back in. Or some people even like do it at visitation. Man, they go in there and they get it at visitation and bring it in, which is like you got to put it in the safe, bro, because you're getting strip searched when you're coming back from visitation. So
all the time they do.
Oh yeah, every time. Yeah.
I don't think there's visitation anymore.
Oh yeah, there is.
There?
Yeah.
Because I know some places do like video, like
mostly those are like county jails and stuff like that.
Really? But like prisons and
prisons.
Stuff?
Yeah, prisons. They let you like go in and sit at a table. Most of them, like some of the higher level yards, maybe not anymore. But like, you know, your family could come in and we'd be sitting at a table like this.
Oh, okay.
And we could talk and hang out, and they got little machines that put quarters in to get some food out of. Little cakes or sodas or little sandwiches or whatever. So you can hang out and have something to eat. Yeah, but you're inside and there's, you know, people around watching you and stuff all the time. But even then, people still are like, you know, that's how they do it. Yeah, they get it. Crazy, they have to take it, you know. They gotta hide it. Yeah, they gotta hide it. It's like
real good.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah.
Damn, man. Well, so let's get back to so I met you through jiu-jitsu, right?
Right.
How long have you been doing martial arts?
Let me see. This January will be 2 years.
2 years? That's crazy. Yeah. All jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Have you ever done anything else?
When I was a kid, back in the early '80s, like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I did judo for a few years.
Oh, crazy.
There was a Maryville Park right there on 51st and Campbell. There was the little park building right there. Had a couple old Japanese guys. One of them could speak a little English. The other one, the only thing I ever heard him say in English was "no cross feet" every time he dipped me. You know what I mean? If I crossed my feet and he slammed me. And they taught they taught judo at the Maryville Park for free. And so
holy shit,
cool. Back there that was that program. So I did that, and then I wrestled 1 year in high school.
Cool.
And I did okay. You know, I wasn't like, I was more into baseball and football at the time, and things just like my buddies were like, "Come on, man, we need somebody in your weight division to to wrestle. So I went out and I did about half my matches JV and half of them varsity because I had to wrestle off with a guy every week before the matches, and half the time I'd win and half the time he'd win. So I wasn't like one of those super bad dudes or anything. So it was cool. It was fun. But that was like 30 years ago.
That's crazy,
or more because 87 was my graduating year. So
holy shit,
this was all in the early 80s.
Yeah,
early mid 80s. Yeah.
So that was here in Arizona, you said?
Yeah, here in Phoenix. So I didn't do anything else until 2 years ago. And my oldest son is 32, and he's a purple belt with Carlson Gracie out of Kingman.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, so really cool. We went to Vegas to watch him compete in a tournament in Vegas. So I was like, let's go on vacation. Eric's competing.
There you go.
Let's go up there and check out the jiu-jitsu thing. And at the time, I was coaching my other two sons' football teams. I had two football teams that I was the coach of.
Yeah.
So so I had my youngest son's team and Winston's team, and so I took them to watch the tournament. We went to Vegas for vacation. We watched the tournament, and they were like on me, Dad. We want to do what Eric's doing. We want to fight. We want to do jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Cool. And I was like, but I knew it was tougher than they thought it was. Right, so I was like, all right, well, we'll see. We're playing football right now, and I had two little savage teams. We won some championship games, and cool. I had two pretty good little teams that I kept the same kids coming back. So I had two little mobster crews.
That's cool.
So
don't mess it up, kids.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was like, I let my
interest.
Yeah, kind of. They loved football and they wanted to play football, but I was kind of like into it too, like being,
having fun being a coach.
Yeah, and I kind of let that, maybe keep us from joining jiu-jitsu sooner. So then the next year came, we went back to Vegas again and watched my son compete in another tournament, and then they wouldn't stop. They were like, we're tired of football. We're going to do jiu-jitsu. And
I get in trouble when I choke in football.
Yeah. So I went to one of the kids on my football team's birthday party, and his cousin had always been coming to the games and coming to practice, and I talked to his cousin a lot, and he was another little boy, and his name is Alex, and he still goes to Black Flag. He trains, little Alex that comes in.
The long hair, right?
No, not that Alex.
Oh, okay.
The younger one. He's like 13 years old, 13 years old now. So I was sitting with his mom and dad, and we were talking about it, and they were like, well, we train over here. Alex trains over here at Black Flag. And I was like, well, cool, let's go check it out.
Cool,
so
awesome.
We went and checked it out, and the boys started training 2 years this month, November.
Damn, that's so cool.
Yeah, so at the time, I was I had been running half marathons for a couple years, trying to, because just getting myself in shape, doctor told me I needed to lose weight and get in shape, so that's what I was doing. I was running, working out, just trying to keep in shape. So I was doing half marathons. So me and my buddy were like, well, let's do a full marathon. So I was like, okay, cool.
Holy shit. What was
that
like?
It was hard.
Dude,
Jesus
26 miles, yeah.
Holy shit.
I would die after one.
Yeah.
So,
a real long time.
It was
a lot of breaks.
It was fun, man. It's a challenge. It was fun.
Is it all running?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you're not running a full sprint, of course. You're jogging.
There's no like bikes or something.
No.
What's that?
That's like a triathlon.
Triathlon,
that's swimming, biking, and running.
Crazy.
Yeah. So as soon as I saw the boys, doing it, and I'd see my older son, training, I was like, man, because that juice was like hitting me, because like during the football games,
I could do that.
Yeah, I'd be getting jacked up during the football games, like, man, I missed that. Kicking somebody, and so the competitive juices in me were flowing, a little bit, and I mean, like running's cool and everything, but there's no contact. You know what I mean? If they made it contact running, where you like maybe could, you could get a little mosh pit going every once in a while, knock a few people down or something. It would be better. So there was some people at the club that were like, "Why don't you try it? Come on, And I got in trouble for coaching the kids a couple times. Yeah, coach, shut up, I'm gonna move you over here. So your dad will leave you alone. Like I knew what I was doing. You know what I mean? I wrestled 1 year. I took judo when I was 10. So So they were trying to get me to train. Well, come on, train.
Like the coaches, like Gilbert?
Yeah, and a few of the other people at the club. So I was just like, all right, just, I'm training for this marathon. I said, my luck, I'll get out there and get hurt. And there'll go 2 years of me trying to get to this marathon, point. Yeah. So...
All right, welcome to Heel Hook Week.
Yeah, exactly. Now my knees are all jacked up. I'm old, bro. Yeah. So I did the marathon in January. It took me like a week to recover, and then that following week, I was like, I showed up ready to go, and they're like, "Cool, you're training?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm training. Let's go."
Damn,
so
that's crazy.
It's been on since then.
How old were you when you started training?
48.
48? Wow,
yeah.
That's so
I just turned 50 in September.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's right. Happy birthday.
Yeah, so I just, you can't let your age define. You should still go out there and try to do stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I didn't run my first half marathon until I was 46, maybe.
Holy shit.
46 or 47. I ran my first full marathon at 48.
Wow.
And then. Yeah, so that was my first. Did my first jiu-jitsu tournament at 48. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, because I saw that. I know you've done a couple of tournaments.
Yeah.
What was your tournament experience like?
Fun, man. They're fun. The first one, I thought I was like, just from being out there, like getting in fights my whole life and being kind of wild and doing stuff.
Shit,
yeah, I thought, this ain't gonna be shit, man. I'm just going out there, we'll fucking scrap it up. We'll just go out here and scrap it up, and it'll be cool. Yeah. But when it's in a controlled environment, you're not like letting emotion and anger and whatever.
You kind of gotta control your adrenaline, right? Yeah.
I failed miserably, dude. I went out there, and the dude I was going against was a pretty good sized dude like me, a little bit bigger, probably 20, 30 pounds bigger than me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I grabbed a hold of him, and it was like, that's pretty much, all the.
That was your first one?
My first one, yeah. And I had only trained for like 2 months before I went out there for my first tournament. I was like, if I'm going to be doing this, let's go test it. Fuck it, I'm going to jump in the fire, So, yeah, and he beat me on points. And both of us.
Never submitted you?
No, we wrestled around. He beat me on points. That was in the gi, and then in no gi, I went against the same dude again because there was only 2 of us in the division.
That's funny.
Yeah, there was only 2 of us in the division. So I was like, I'm getting this dude this time. You know what I mean? Yeah. And but once again, that feeling was kicking my ass before we actually went out on the mats.
Oh, wow.
So we started scrapping again, man, and I tried to take him down, and he landed on top of me, and he got a couple points, and I just kept scrambling, and I got on top of him, and I had him in an arm triangle choke.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to choke this motherfucker out. So I got tunnel vision, and I was just like, and I was just trying to squeeze the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Well, I was in the mount position, except for one foot wasn't on the ground.
Oh.
But I'm so tunnel vision, just like
so I didn't. On the submission?
Yeah, my foot was on
position.
Yeah, my foot was on his leg. It wasn't on the ground, so I didn't get the mount points. Damn. So I spent the last minute and a half on top of him. All I would have had to do was put my foot down, and I would have won.
That sucks.
But I was just adrenaline pumped maniac.
That's just the rules. You're both have to be on the ground.
In that position to get the points. To get the points. So I would have won 4-3, but instead I lost 3-0 because.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, because during the scramble I didn't get a sweep or anything. We just came loose and scrambled loose, so I didn't get any points.
Damn.
And so I spent the last minute and a half on top of him, trying to choke him, and not listening to anybody that was going, put your foot down, put your foot down, put your foot down. I'm like, So I lost that, and then my next match that same day was the absolute because I signed up for everything. I'm like, I'm doing all the divisions.
That's expensive, God.
Yeah, it was only like $120 or something. Yeah, if you signed up early, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, so then, dude, I got in that division and I got caught in a triangle and dude choked the shit out of me and I had to tap.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Have you ever been knocked out completely, like for jiu-jitsu? No? You always tap?
Yeah, no, I haven't got.
All the way?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, luckily, I'm pretty good at keeping from getting choked after that. And I've let people take me close to the edge a couple times in practice just so I could see how it feels. And you can see the
darkness just creeping in.
For me, it got quiet. Like I could hear, like at that tournament, I could hear everything. And then all of a sudden, like somebody turned down the sound.
Yeah.
And then it started getting
crazy.
Closer. And I was like, okay, I'm not letting. maybe now I might let somebody choke me to sleep just out of. But
I kind of want to do it out of curiosity.
Yeah.
I've been pretty close to it, but I'm always like, and then I'm like, I need a second. I'm like,
no, not for fun. I mean, like just being hard headed, trying to fight a choke.
Oh, okay, yeah. I kind of want to do it for fun.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I might not wake back up.
Time to test it.
Yeah. No, I just haven't. I'm like, maybe not.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, I got close to the edge, and that was cool enough. Eventually, it's going to happen, whether it's in practice or in a tournament. Sooner or later, I think if you do anything long enough, it's going to happen.
Yeah, you probably get a little bit of everything for sure.
Yeah,
I think when I started, I had a problem with like knowing my boundaries with like limb locks, and like when people would extend my arm and shit, in an arm bar, I'd be like, I can hold on a little bit longer, and then I would, and then eventually I'd be like, okay, I'll tap. And the next day, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I think that's everybody because you don't realize
you don't want to give it up.
Yeah, you don't realize the effectiveness of it. And,
true. Yeah.
Or the people might not realize the effectiveness of it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so you got to be careful because there are some dudes that are a little spazzy, that
push it a little further.
Well, you just got to be like they don't know what they're doing at first. And they're a little
I'm
spazzy.
like that now. I think,
Not really.
I mean, I try to be careful for sure, but I've definitely caught myself being like, could have gone a little lighter.
But you just got to give what you give back,
Yeah.
But no, I've never when you and I have rolled. Yeah, I've never felt that about you at all.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe, okay.
There's other cats that we roll with that I'm like, man, this dude's kind of a spaz. I got to make sure that if he does get me in a certain situation, I got to make sure I tap sooner, than later, so he knows, because there was a guy that was training with us for a while, and he was a big, strong guy. You know what I mean? He came from college football, and he was an athlete.
That's crazy.
And so when we first started, man, I didn't have too much problems with him, because he just didn't know what he was doing. And I'd only been training a few months longer than before him, but he caught up quick, man. But at first, like I would tap quick when he got a hold of me because he was like a beast strong and quick, and I was like, bro, you gotta. But then after he got to be in. After he realized
a little more practice.
Then and he calmed down, then I would roll with him and it was no big deal. But
cool.
Yeah, but at first, man, you just gotta you gotta know which ones are, to be careful with. And,
definitely. Yeah, you come across some people that you're like, I'm not rolling with you for a little while. I'm scared for my life. Yeah. Damn.
You said in your first tournament you had issues like tunnel vision. You said you had like the feeling of adrenaline. How did you overcome that? And
just time, because even after it took me about
time that day or
no time it didn't stop. I had another match that day. I had 2 more matches that day, so I ended up losing my first 3 matches. Then I won my next 2 matches, and so I in the absolute no-gi division, my first tournament, I got a gold medal. But both the dudes were smaller than me, but it is what it is, you know what I mean? So I was like,
if their technique was bigger than yours.
Yeah. So, but then after that, for every time I got on the mat, man, it would be them butterflies jumping like, even thinking about it, like the first couple days, like up into the match, I'd be having still those like, oh man.
Nervous about it?
Yeah, like just feeling the adrenaline start, like, okay, and then I think one of the last tournaments I did as a white belt, I had that feeling again when I was on the sidelines, but then as soon as I stepped out, it was gone. And I was like,
cool.
Yeah, and I was like, finally, dude. It took like over like a year. It took.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, to where like I wasn't all for the first minute or 2 up until that point. I would still be like, it'd take me a minute to let it go and just start doing what I was, taught to do, and it started coming back. But now it's like, okay, I'm cool. I got that little rush going all the way up until the time we step on the mat, and then after that, but it took about 10 months, 10, 11 months.
Man.
Yeah. Cool. But that was me. Some people, it seems like they don't have it at all, like my boys, man, their first time, they were both like, they told me, I'm a little scared, Dad. I'm like, you're going to do fine. And they both just jumped out there and just handled business, man.
That's cool.
Yeah. So.
Huh. Do your kids ever go out like while you're working with you?
Yeah. I'd let them come when we're.
Construction stuff?
Yeah, I teach them stuff. They really liked, I had a contract with this company that owns like thousands of houses here in town.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
so every time that somebody would move out or they would buy another house, the tenants were living there, they would send me in with my crew, and we would like take all the stuff out of the house that they would leave behind. So like evictions or if they just split and left all their stuff behind when they skipped out on rent, or there was other, like a couple times people got arrested or whatever, and like, you know, they'd leave all the stuff behind.
Yeah.
So we'd go into some of these houses and there'd be like, and even when the bottom of the market first dropped out too, there was people that I had that were buying houses that people got foreclosed on, and they would buy them sight unseen. So they would make the bids on them at auction, not even knowing how bad the house was inside or how nice it was inside.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so they would just tell me, hey, whatever's in there, take it to the dump, or you can have it, or whatever.
Damn, that's cool.
Yeah, dude. So I was making bank. Like we'd be having yard sales, and like scrap metal back then was like expensive. And
what's the coolest thing that you kept? Top 3 things.
Let me see.
That's the top 3.
For me, like I like tools, so there was a lot of cool tools that I got out of there. We found some.
Okay, I respect it, but come on, you're going through people's shit.
Well, most of the time they take the super cool stuff. We found some Pearl Harbor medals that.
That's crazy.
That got left behind, and I don't know if then people died or the kids didn't care anymore or what, but that was kind of rough. It was cool, but it was kind of rough, And then we found some cool jewelry that we made some money off of that we took to the pawn shops and stuff, and and we found some cool comic books that I still got stashed away.
That's awesome.
Like in good condition, old ones.
Some cool comic books.
Do you ever see what they're worth?
We took them one time, but this was like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and they were like, "Oh, these are good ones," but they were only worth like $15 or $20, I think, at the time.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Shit. So, but we got them put away, you know, saving them for the kids, and then man, we found all kinds of stuff like that, jewelry and this. I mean, mostly cool tools. We found a truck in one that got left behind. It was like a Ford Expedition with the rims and shit still on it.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, they didn't let me get that. I was like, I would have taken it. They're like, we had to. I guess they called the bank or whoever. I was like, let me get the rims off of it. They would have fit my truck. I was like, let me get the rims off of it. And they're like, no, we can't do it. I was like, we found a couple 4-wheelers that got left behind. That we tried to get. I found a pretty cool little go-kart in one.
Nice. Yeah. I had a friend, I think, who he had like an uncle or something that did that, and he got a guitar out of it.
Yeah.
A pretty nice guitar.
We found some guitars, but I don't know that none of them that are like really worth a lot of money. A lot of money. But that's like the thing we'd always say, like one of these days. Oh, I found in an attic one time. I went to this house. Yeah.
You know what?
We went to this.
Remodel homes. Have you ever seen any paranormal shit?
No, not really.
No,
not anything. I've been in some. I've been in some houses that you probably could have thought there was some bodies in there somewhere. The one crazy house we went to, we went in there and somebody had kicked the door open. There was an eviction, so. They thought they would tell me, oh, it's just fix the front door and there's just a couple other things, inside to get rid of. So we went over there. I guess we got there and the door was kicked in, and I was like, oh, what's going on? And we walked in there and there was like bundles everywhere. So I guess it was a drop house, bro. And when they got evicted, how you not paying the rent? You know what I mean? They got evicted. They came back and kicked the door in, and I guess all the bundles were stacked up into the attic of the house because the thing was
drugs?
Yeah, dude.
Jesus Christ!
There was like the big bundles that they wrapped
like fucking like gym
and
bags,
there was
like
weed everywhere.
Whoa.
Just like crumbs everywhere, like the whole house, dude. Is like there was just the plastic, the plastic bag, like the plastic wrap and plastic trash bags and whatever that they wrap the big pounds in when they bring them over. And then we found these little and there was just that shit was just cut open all through the house, and like the tub had nuggets in it, the sink had nuggets in it, there was nuggets all over the floor everywhere. Yeah, it was crazy. And then
I would have walked in there and be like, "There's a lot of oregano."
I was like, "Holy shit!" And I don't smoke anymore, But at the time, there was a couple dudes on my crew. At the time, this was a few years ago. There was a couple dudes on my crew that smoked, and I was like, "You motherfuckers ain't putting that shit in my truck." But fucking,
they're like, "Oh, how crazy is that over there?"
But I told him, I said, go ahead, man, scoop it up. If you want it, keep it, but you're gonna have to.
Did they let you guys keep or like do whatever?
Well, they didn't really know at the they didn't know what was going on.
You guys
they just knew the door was kicked in and stuff. So I went in there, and there was shit everywhere, and I was like, how the fuck do you get evicted, dude? And you got this much weed in the ceiling, you know what I mean? Jesus, but they did. And
they were so high they forgot to pay.
Yeah, and then we found the little like all the little camouflage duffel bags and the little shoes they make out of carpet to put on their tennis shoes when they're carrying this shit across the border.
Oh shit, dude!
Found the little camouflage suits and the little boots they tie over their shoes inside the house. So it was like a legit, it was a legit drug house, man. That
Did you guys have to call the cops or anything?
I don't because I just called the dude that I got the houses from. I'm like, hey, this was like a this was a drug house, bro. There's weed everywhere, and he's like, what? He's an older cat, so he was like. He wasn't hip to that. You know, like, well, they told me the door was kicked open. I said, well, they came back in to get their shit. That's why the door was kicked open, because they got evicted. And when the dude left, I guess, the constables, they came back on later that day or whatever, later that night, and kicked the door in and cut everything open. You could tell they did it quick. Because, I mean, even if you have that much weed, you're not going to waste as much as they left behind. There was like crumbs everywhere, you know.
Could you imagine getting evicted and being like, my weed?
The constable's at the door and you got like 500 pounds in the attic. Oh, can I get my... I
got these socks in there.
That's my Christmas tree.
This is the biggest duffel bag. I swear it's a real fur.
It's pine.
The strong odor is the pine.
So that was a cool one right there. That one was pretty cool. Man. Yeah.
Your kids weren't with you, right?
No, they weren't with me that time.
Do you still do those now? Do you still do those now?
Not as much now because that company right there, they got rid of most of their houses. So they bought all these houses when they're like when the bottom, when the market fell. They buy all these houses, they fix them up, they rent them. So every time somebody'd move out, we'd fix them again. And then now that the market's back up, now they sell them. So they get rid of the last renter and then they sell them all. Now that's same company's doing like new houses now. They bought a bunch of land and just started building new houses on it. Or they would buy a big piece of property that had one house on it, tear it down and put 5 houses on it. Or that's how they make their loot.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's how they make their loot. So but it's cool though, you know, because I get a lot of that work too, you know. So
definitely.
Diversified, man. You got to be able to do
it all. Huh?
Yeah.
Did you have to do any like? Do you need like licenses or anything?
If you can have a contractor's license. I do not at the present time, but most of the guys that I do stuff for, like I will work under two of the contractors I work for. I work under their license when I'm on their jobs, so it's no big deal. But then like a lot of the investment groups and the private homeowners that I do stuff, I'm just straight up with them like, hey man, I don't have any, you know, I'm not a contractor, I don't have a contractor's license, but I have all these references, and most of the jobs I get are from word of mouth reference, and then all the stuff I blast on Facebook. So like all my friends on Facebook tell their friends, or like my friends that I grew up with or whatever, you know. I like in the past 2 days I've had like 6 or 7 calls for like roof leaks and stuff like that, and it's all and it's all friends off of Facebook, you know. So that's why I blast all my work on there. It's not that I'm like you know, everybody has a job, you know what I mean, but that's a commercial for me to where I can't pay like, you know, Parker and Sons, you know, I ain't making that kind of money to get on TV, so I just put all the different work that we do on there and blast the pictures.
That's what's good about times now, is that you can do stuff like that for free, basically. You have like so many places where you can just spam whatever you do, and somebody
will see it.
Sure, bugs people, but like, who cares if you're getting money out of it? You know what I mean?
It's my friends, and I'm not like just trying to shove it down their throat. You don't have to like the picture; just keep scrolling,
just
you know. But in the back of their mind, they see that, and then one day they're like, I wonder if Scotty, he's put so much shit on there. Maybe that he knows how to do this, or maybe he knows how to do that. And they call me, and I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that.
I think that's where there's like a weird little like divide between a lot of people, where like you feel like you're being bothersome to the people that like you're on your friends list or whatever, but like it's exactly what you said. They will just keep scrolling. You know what I mean? Like I've seen people post the same shit every single day, and I'm just like, what? Don't care today. You know what I mean? But then eventually, like you're right. Like sometimes you're like, oh wait, Nancy does massages.
Yeah, exactly.
If it actually bothers someone, they just gotta stick up their ass. It's not your own
exactly.
fault.
Yeah, or like if it really bothers you that much, just unfollow them. You know what I mean? Like, and then that's just one less person you got to worry about. So I think people should like share their shit more often.
Yeah. But if it's cool, I mean. But what's cool to one person might not be cool to other. But I'm just out there trying to hustle, man. Just trying to pimp myself. You know what I mean? Like they say, I'm just trying to. Here I am, bro.
Exactly. You know? That's what we got you.
Call me, I'm broke. You know.
We're pimping, bro.
Plus, it's fun. You know, showing off a little bit. You know what I mean?
Definitely. But it's definitely something to be proud of. You know, a lot of people can't do that or don't do that.
So. But for the most part, you know, I'm hoping to provide, like, I've done stuff for people's moms and dads, you know, where, you know, they know they can trust me. You know what I mean? Because, like, when I was locked up one time, this idiot did the tile for my mom, and he robbed her. You know what I mean? He got all the money to do the tile, and he bought some tile and did a couple pieces of tile and left a little toolbox there. I'll be back tomorrow, you know. And he didn't buy enough tile to do the whole job. He just bought enough tile to go in there and put a couple pieces of tile down at the end of the day and leave his little toolbox there with some little crumbly tools that aren't even tile tools, some shit he picked up at a yard sale or something. It's like, dude, you didn't even have to, like, she's a handicapped lady at the, you know, she's passed away now, but at the time, I'm like, she's not going to come after you, you know, what's she going to do? You know what I mean? And he beat my mom out of the money that she paid him to do the tile in the house, you know. So
that sucks, man.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people. There's a lot of cats out there like that, you know. So that's why, you know, everybody talks about licensed contractors and this and that, and that's cool. But there's a lot of them dudes that are cutthroat pieces of shit too, though, that do the same thing, you know. So
we had a guy did that to our lawn. He did like our lawn. I think he left like some tools too, and he never came back.
So it's cool to have like to be able to tell your friend, like, yeah, you know, I'm not going to do your mom and dad Dusty or you Dusty or anybody else, you know,
that's cool.
This is all I got, man. I've been in the spot where all I had was my word, and it better count, you know. In some of the places I've been, if you didn't keep your word, bro, there were severe consequences for it. You know what I mean? So my mindset is that I don't have nothing. I don't have 50 cents in my pocket, but I got my word, and my word is golden. You know, and so
cool.
So that helps out a lot because, you know, I want to be able to take care of not only the people that I don't know, but especially like people that I grew up knowing or whatever. Even though I haven't seen them in 15 or 20 years. I just did a roof for a girl that we were friends from 5th grade till like high school or whatever. And she called me and she's like, Scott, my roof's leaking, you know, and I'm like, I got you, you know what I mean? So
cool.
And it made her, you know,
puts her mind at ease.
That knowing that you know, it was somebody that she know, even though we hadn't seen each other in a long time, she always knew me back then, that, you know, I was up and up, and she's, you know, she knew now that I could take care of her. So
that's what's up.
That's cool. that part of it is what that I like about it the most, being able to give somebody that peace of mind, that knowing that, you know, if you need something, it's going to get done. It's going to get done right, you know, and that's what helps me with my business with everybody, is because like these cats that I do stuff for them now, dude, they got enough money, they could hire anybody. I mean, some of these guys that I do work for, like living on Camelback Mountain, got two 2,400 square foot guest houses connected to their 14,000 foot house that they live in.
That's crazy.
You know, literally, there's one of the guys I do work for that his house is right at the bottom of Camelback Mountain, and it's like, this is the guest house. It's like twice as big as my regular house. You know, and this is the other guest house that's. You know, and this and it's crazy. And he's
got a lot of money out here,
dude. He's got enough money he could hire anybody.
I bet,
and he hires a dude like me that, you know an ex-con, you know, because he knows that he could give me the keys to $1 million house, and it's going to look exactly the way he wants it to look when I'm done.
Right.
And, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool. Honestly, your word is important in anything.
Your word is your bond.
Exactly.
Yeah, and more people need to get back to that, because
seriously, I
mean, even just simple stuff, not just, you know, like jobs or whatever, you know, just being,
giving people rides, like literally everything, like
being real.
It's hard to find people that you can count on a lot of the times, you know.
Because I mean, like all these jobs I do some pretty big jobs, man, and I haven't signed a contract in probably 6 or 7, 8 years, probably.
That's crazy.
Everything I do is on handshake and we're good, you know. And
cowboy shit.
Yeah, but I'm pretty lucky on most of the big jobs I do that like would really hurt if I got beat.
Yeah.
Are with guys that are pretty much the same way I am.
That's awesome.
That helps. That's cool.
I used to drive for Amazon, dude, and I used to deliver like a lot of the houses up there, like on Camelback.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man. I remember just walking up and just be like,
"Hey, I mean, I do some pimp shit. I make some. I work in some nice, super bad houses, man, and they're still houses I go into, and I'm like, what the fuck? What? Damn, bro! Like, that house. I'm there's an old guy and an old lady that live in that house by themselves, and I'm like, man, you could get lost in this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have kids. I mean, you don't have.
Those people got life alert for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for real. There's like, because if they fall somewhere, bro, it's gonna take like 4 or 5 days to find them
in the house, and it still takes like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
there's like stay in nurse.
Yeah,
she's running, bro.
Yeah, some of the shit I see is like, man, this is. I was telling a guy I did a paint job for the other day. One of my buddies referred me to him, and I'm like, I seriously go into houses that some of these people buy, and I'm like, we did one right at the bottom of Payastoa Peak.
Shit.
Yeah, where you could walk right out his back door and go over the fence, and you're on like the mountain next to Payastoa Peak. You could see him walking down, right? Yeah. So I go in there, and I'm like, man, this house is super live, dude. It's pimp. It's like the garage and part of the.
You feel like you shouldn't be stepping on the floor.
A room and a bathroom and the garage on this level. Then you go up to the next level, and there's like the kitchen, the living room, the pool, couple bedrooms, couple bathrooms, and then you go up another level on a spiral staircase, and then there's a couple more rooms and another little office up there. Crazy. Super bad. I'm like, man,
one person living in that.
I would love to live here, and then the contractor that I was doing that job for, he shows up and he's like, all right, you want to see the list? I'm like, the list? What am I here to do? I mean, there's really no, this house is, he goes, no, we're tearing all this out. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. That's crazy. He goes, no, we're tearing everything out. They changed like 2 bedrooms into 1 big bedroom upstairs, and they tore out everything. We put all new cabinets, we changed the directions the stairs were coming, because the stairs were like, it was weird. They were going this way, and then so we switched them to where they came down from this side, because they were coming down from the living room side. So we tore everything out and switched them to where they would come down from the kitchen side.
They were so rich they didn't want to look that way anymore.
Dude, it was crazy.
You know what? I'm tired of ending up here.
Yeah. So they had just bought the house, so they didn't like anything that. So
that's cool.
We flipped the whole.
That's so
and I was like, I would fucking live in this house till the day I died.
I know, as is,
and wouldn't touch a thing. And they're like, tear all this shit out. Fucking take it. Get rid of it. Yeah, we're tearing all this shit down.
The sun comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna take the house and spin it.
Exactly as it was, but then later we're gonna take it out.
And I just did a house in Paradise Valley that it was the same way. We went in there and just,
gutted it,
gutted the whole thing, cut out all the ceilings to raise all the ceilings up, tore out walls and redid the whole.
Does that take a long time? Like,
some of them do. Yeah, some of them do, because it depends on how much they're changing it around. But yeah, that one, we were on that one for about, just on the inside part that we did on that house, we were on that one probably about 4.5 or 5 weeks, and then
that's less than that.
that's less than that too. I was like 4.5 months.
No, not on my part.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're still working on that house.
Oh, okay. So you do like a section of it, and then
I'll do all the parts of the job that I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Like, I did all the demo, then I did all the carpentry, reframing everything back to where the new. How the new floor plan was going to look, and I did all that. And then you got the AC guys that got to come in and change everything, the electricians that got to come in and change everything, and then I do sheet,
like insulation and shit like
all the new insulation. And then that job, like, I do sheetrock and stuff too, and I do plumbing and electrical and stuff. But a job like that's too big for me and the couple guys that I got, because not everybody's skilled enough in everything that we do to take on super big jobs like that, only in certain aspects. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's crazy.
So then the sheetrock guys come in and have to re-sheetrock everything, and then the new tile has to go in, and then all the new doors and all the new paint, all the new base, and all the everything in there. It's all brand new in there. And then on that same house, they had plans to put another. There was a 2-car garage connected to the house. That's part of the house. Then they wanted to put another 2-car garage on the property.
Jesus.
But because
we're gonna buy more cars. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's her garage. This is my garage. Yeah.
It's in her garage.
Yeah. But you can have the one connected to the kitchen, baby. So you can
drive right in. Yeah. And tell the cook to make food.
Unload the groceries. Yeah.
Exactly.
So they the people in the neighborhood. Homeowners association in that Paradise Valley neighborhood, or they didn't want any detached garages. They wanted to, so we had to resubmit plans to where we built 2 storage rooms with a drive-through. So the garage comes off this way. Then there's a storage room. Then a drive-through that you could come drive cars and stuff through. Another storage room. And then the 2-car garage on this side. So that way it's all connected. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
They're just getting creative with their money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, these are the rules. How crazy can we make it?
Yeah. Oh, so that's what you want us to do? Do you think my bankroll's not fat enough? I got
right.
you. Yeah. So
you want to bet?
Yeah. So is that connected enough for you?
I can connect more.
Yeah. So
got the hover cart.
I was like, I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah,
so, and that's the house that the people bought the house and they don't even live in it yet. They haven't lived in there, and they've been working on that house probably 6 or 7 months now. We've been working on that house, and it's not all the way complete yet because then they redo the landscaping, they redo everything, man. There's money out there, man. It's crazy how much money people have. Yeah. Like, for stuff like that. It's like, man, dude, what kind of job do you have that kind of money just to...
What kind of parents do you have to have?
The one's smart enough to keep your ass in school, and get you into college, because obviously you have to have some kind of,
something, for sure.
Going
That's
on.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, that people that have houses like that.
That was, like, when I was working for Amazon, dude, every day I saw that shit.
Yeah.
It was a short period of time, but every day I saw that shit, I felt so inspired and like crushed at the same time.
Yeah.
I was like, someday. Oh.
Yeah. You know what, man? It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
Everybody has to have their lane, man.
No, exactly.
Some of the stuff they have in some of them houses, I'm just like, come on, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
definitely.
like, all right, how many people's going to live in this house? Some of these houses like are older couples that have a lot of money and they're living in houses that, like, man, me and my 2 kids and my old lady, we could all live in that house and not even use half of it. You know what I mean? And it's definitely. 2 like old people living there, like, who the fuck's coming over for dinner?
Yeah, they just have so much money that it doesn't. They don't even think about it.
It's more.
They live in a different world. They have a different mindset.
Right. It's more like a status thing than it is like you don't really need all that room.
No, definitely.
But they have it.
They're just accustomed to it.
Yeah, and I mean they've earned it. So I'm not a hater, dude. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating it, but
you can do it.
Yeah. And I always thought, I'm like, man, if I ever had money like that, I'd have some dope shit. But for me, I think, man, I'd be as happy with like a double wide trailer on like 10 acres somewhere than I would be in a $2 million or $3 million or $4 million house where your neighbors are looking over the fence trying to find some reason to call the HOA on you, because that's how those neighborhoods are.
God,
that's
I hate HOA shit.
Yeah, so it's all just depends on what your groove is. Yeah. So not saying that if I hit the lottery, I wouldn't move into one of these neighborhoods, but no,
get everything.
No, I wouldn't, but they'd probably kick us out, man. But by the time my little crazy ass kids got to running around, they'd be like mobbing the ATVs in people's yards and shit. They'd have us kicked out after a week. They'd be like, "You guys got to go. You guys got to go back to the west side. We can't have you over there."
There's more money to fuck up shit.
But
it's crazy. Yeah, man, Scott, thank you so much for coming in, man.
All right, I appreciate it.
Good ass. This is fun.
Yeah. All right, I appreciate it. I was kind of worried, I was like, I'm kind of square now. I didn't know if we'd have really anything to contribute, but
No, it was a lot.
All right,
definitely.
I appreciate it for asking me, and
What's the name of your business, by the way?
It's Sutton and Sons Home Repair and Remodel.
Sutton and Sons, man.
Yeah,
we'll link it in the description.
Yeah.
Anybody with roofing and home needs. If anybody's got hella money out there.
Yeah, especially now that it's been raining so much lately.
Yeah, got hella money. That's cool. Hit me up, and even if you don't, man, I do small jobs too. That's what keeps. Yeah, I do a lot of jobs that a lot of bigger companies don't mess with because they're like, oh, that's too small, you know. So
there you go.
For me, whatever, we can go from the little job to some of the pretty big ones. Just depends on how things work out. But yeah, cool. I appreciate it, man. I had a good time.
Yeah. We'll hope to have you back and talk more.
All right.
About where your business has been and stuff like that. So
yeah,
let's do that.
All right, I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
That's good, man.
We forgot to eat our cake pops.
I know, dude.
I kill we get 2 bags of these a night, or at least 1 bag, because the boys and they're like,
really?
Yeah. And
that's
plus
funny.
These are so good.
Have you tried all of them? These yet?
I haven't tried that. That's what I want to try. Which one is that?
That's good for it. I mean, we're still
the Oreo ones is going to be one of these 2 probably. Okay. Yeah. Did she just send you these today? Or
yeah, I picked them up on the way.
I thought these were like the cheesecake ones.
They are, but they look the same as the Oreos. One of them's Oreo, yeah.
They're brand new.
I would break the Oreo ones are bomb too.
That's what I was excited for. But those cheesecake ones are insane.
Yeah, they're good too.
I've never had anything bad from her.
Nothing, me neither. And she makes like these blueberries covered in chocolate that are good. Yeah. And then she makes these strawberries with like cream cheese or something in them. Nice. And then they're dipped in chocolate, and those are fucking good too, man.
Yeah, man. Those are really good.
Huh?
No, I'm good. I just had some time.
Did you go to class today?
No, because it starts at 7.
Oh, sure.
This is normal. So I'm gonna have to have.
You're gonna have to have them. Until you find the Oreo ones, you can go. Like I went home last night. I had the boys from church last night, so they were with me. So I got them back. I went home. Deacon was asleep. Crept through the house, got a little coffee cup full of milk, and put it in my room.
I bet this would be so good if you like froze it.
Yeah, they're good. I was trying to dip the Oreo ones in milk the other day. Like, did they get soft?
That's crazy. Yeah, when she finishes her process, whatever she does, shit's good. Yeah,
the shitty ones too. Yeah, they start getting Is that the Oreo ones? You haven't had one yet?
No, dude, I'm so excited to.
The crust already. It tastes exactly like
Really?
But like different textures.
Oh, dude, wow.
She's on something.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, you too. That's the first time I've ever been on a podcast.
Interview
done. Yeah. But,
it's a simple operation.
Wow.
Hi. And then we sync the audio like that.